So here's where the global demand is right now. This is from the IEA. Pre-pandemic forecast, you can see, was much higher than where we are now. We then had a big drop, and now their 2021 forecast, you can see where it is now. Up around a little less than 105, let's call it 104 million barrels a day. Okay, let's leave it at that. But will it really do that? Massive stimulus is boosting demand for all natural resources, and in particular gold. And so when I go back up to that picture, clearly we've seen a big rebound in the demand for oil, no question about it. So, and then with all the massive stimulus that we're seeing in the US, monetary stimulus in most countries around the world, and fiscal stimulus in most countries around the world, that is boosting demand for all natural resources, all commodities, and in particular oil. The US is easing fiscal and monetary policies at levels never before seen in human history, creating what I call the Biden boom. But countries keep locking down. In today's newspaper, Malaysia is completely shutting down. The Philippines reported that they've added a bunch of new countries, that they're not going to allow anybody into the Philippines from these countries, including the UAE, which I'm in the UAE, and the UAE is one of the top 3 vaccinated countries in the world. But okay, fine. But the problem is that locking down, Europe is locking down again, a lot of it. Some of it's opening, some of it's locking down. It's a mixed bag. Africa's locked down. India's locked down. China's actually starting to see COVID making a comeback there. So we'll see if they're locking down little parts of China. But the point is that the locking down is still going on. We're seeing lockdown open, lockdown open, lockdown open. So the Biden boom, the fiscal and monetary explosion we're seeing around the world is still fighting COVID lockdowns. So demand will grow very slowly this year because of COVID. Now, what this means is, the way I'm looking at this is, the fiscal boom is going to be there. In the US, we're in the middle of the Biden boom. But global demand is not going to grow very much. It's going to kind of grow slowly as countries get more and more vaccinated and open up more and more. And so it's going to be a slow rebound, really until the end of 2022 before we get back to normal from a global perspective in terms of oil demand. Next year, however, Biden's policies may create a recession because of higher taxes and anti-growth policies, including green mandates, pro-union. Once again, higher taxes, of course, will be the big one. So it's too early to exactly see what's going to happen. We can't predict it yet because we don't know what policies will actually be passed by Congress. It's quite possible that none of them will be passed by Congress. So right now, I'm kind of looking at the Biden policies that he's proposed, the so-called infrastructure program. And of course, it's getting pared back, and parts of it are being eliminated because he's trying to get some votes in the Senate, and even he's going to lose some of votes based on his policies right now. So he's going to have to pare it back even in the House. So we don't really know the final approach. But I'm going to assume that since the Republicans are proposing $1 trillion, that it'll be at least $1 trillion, but not the $6 trillion that Biden wants. It might be that they come to a draw and we get none. So we don't really know. But if Biden's preferred policies went in, I'm pretty sure we'd get a recession next year, and that would cause a big drop in oil demand because the U.S. is the biggest demander of oil